Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction and review, and this is to the 5th episode of MLP? Yep, the 5th episode, which is... oh boy, this title. Grannies Gone Wild. Okay! Okay! I can only assume that this folk has Granny Smith in it. I can only assume that. And the title is just... oh boy. Okay. 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 Alright, so let's see what madness we are going to descend into. So, start video 3, 2. Double check, make sure it's still recording. Okay, start the video. 3, 2, 1, click.
I'm so
Cute.
glad I made it to Las Pegasus before the fastest, most thrilling ride of all time closes for good.
What?
The fastest, most thrilling ride of all time? She hasn't heard of the Wild Blue Yonder?
They're outside of their Wonderbolt uniform. That is awesome.
It's that one where, alright, you got me. What is
it? Only the coolest roller coaster ever.
The shipping has started.
You can't really call yourself a Wonderbolt if you haven't been on it.
It looks incredible! Oh, it is. First, you strap yourself into the Cloud Rocket Car, and then you're catapulted straight through a series of daring dips and terrifying turns.
Hey, we see them again.
So many times, you don't know which way is up. Till finally, you climb to the highest peak on the rails, then drop towards the ground at lightning speed before coming up to a screeching halt. It's the coolest ride ever to exist in the history of Equestria.
So, when did you ride it?
Oh, I haven't.
Okay. Alright, first off, really cool that we get to... oh yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting about the new intro. Hey, look over me. It took 8 years before we got a new intro, so yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting that in the beginning we see some of the Wonderbolts there without their uniforms, which is awesome. It's great that we get to see them without them. And, oh boy, the shipping there, those little moments with Rainbow and Soren was adorable. I'm looking forward to seeing fan art of that. It's also interesting Rainbow was like told every pony.
Forever! But I can't go to Las Pegasus because I have to teach at Twilight School. I'm gonna miss out on the coolest roller coaster of all time. Unless... why do I feel like you're about to ask me a mighty big favor? Can you cover my glasses?
That face?
Absolutely.
Really?
That
Awesome!
face? Hold on there.
On one condition. You tag along with a few other ponies going to Las Pegasus.
Granny?
Surely you don't mean Granny Smith. No, of course not. I mean Granny Smith and the rest of the Gold Horseshoe Gals.
What?
Hurry your haunches, hinnies!
Grand Auntie Applesauce, Cousin Apple Rose, and Cousin Goldie Delicious. Why, I'm sure they'd be plumb tickled to have you join their annual Grand Mayor's trip to Las Pegasus. It'll be perfect.
Oh.
I'll teach your classes, and you can look after them for me.
Look after them?
So they don't get too carried away. Usually Big Mac goes along as a chaperone, but I'm sure he'd love a break.
Oh.
There is no way I'm going to Las Pegasus with a bunch of old, slow grannies.
So you don't mind missing your only chance to ride the Wild Blue Yonder?
Fine, I'll go.
I can relate to Rainbow here.
Skedaddle so I can
The
get ready.
The things that you will suffer through.
My cranky flank cream. I can't find it in this whole tootin' farmhouse.
It's, gonna take a while.
Oh. I can relate to Rainbow here. The things you will do for the things you want.
Why is this taking so long? The Wild Blue Yonder's gonna close before we even get to Las Pegasus.
Watching
I made
that
a list to
pony
help you keep
climbing
the
there was
grand mares out
adorable.
of trouble. Don't want to have to bring them back home before you get to go on your roller coaster.
That could happen?
Only if you don't follow the rules. These grannies need a lot of care. If one of them overdoes it, it's bye-bye Las Pegasus for the lot of you.
Make sure they get their naps.
Wing hands.
Eat only soft foods. Careful when dancing. Don't get too excited. Seriously?
And don't let them out of your sight. Ever.
Wait, then how am I supposed to go on the roller coaster?
You'll find time, and you might even learn a thing or two about having a good time from these old gals.
Yeah, that'll happen.
All right, y'all. Time to get this show on the road.
Again,
Or in the sky, in this case.
adorable scene.
Is it time?
Or-
Oh, yeah. Come on, come on, come on!
Go, 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 go!
Floor it! Just floor it! I love the sound effect here. That's really cool.
Every pony okay in there? Dandy
We're good.
Pansy in the plant pot?
You know, this hot air
Again,
balloon ride reminds me of the time
pony
I
pilot
climbed a
is adorable.
tree. Have I ever told you that story?
Only about 1,000,000 times.
Huh? What did you say? They said they've heard the tree story.
Oh, you want to hear the tree story? Okay.
Here we go again.
Back when I was a young filly, I was afraid of tree climbing. Knees knocking, hoof sweating. Have you ever had the hoof sweats? Well, they're just the worst thing. You know, Cousin Strudel, she used to get them too. Now, of course, she was a champion fritter thrower.
Las Pegasus.
The Wild Blue Yonder is in our hotel? I bet you grannies are feeling super tired from your journey. Nope. How about a trot down the avenue to see the sights, girls?
Don't forget the sights. I came here to play some serious horseshoe toss.
Oh, can we see the rainbow fountains at the water show? They're so magical.
My paws are crying for a mud mask at the Prison Palace Ball.
Okay.
You know what would be really fun?
It's the Markiplier mustache.
Come on, last one to the hotel is a rotten apple. Let me get that for you.
Flim and Flam! Bad face.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! There it is! The best roller coaster ever!
Bad face.
Warm up those withers, ladies. There's a horseshoe hurling trophy with our names on it.
Don't let them get too excited, or you'll have to go home.
Whoa, 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 whoa! That sounds a little too exciting. Why don't we get you checked in first?
Oh my, you are a strong pony. I just shook a hawks.
No freaking way! Heck no, man,
Welcome to
no.
our Gold Horseshoe Suite. Only the best of the best for our favorite
That is a
guests,
beautiful
which
room.
of course means you, lovely mares.
Why, thank you, a bushel and a peck, you scrumptious morsel of frosted carrot cake.
Dude,
Ooh,
run
thank
now!
You, ma'am.
Run! Just run and never
I
return.
think he was sweet on me. Maybe I should ask him to accompany me to the magic show tonight.
You sure your name's not Apple Saucy? Better find the brakes on that buggy sugar we just got here.
You're right. Better see what else is out there first. The day is young and I am not.
Granny Smith's right. Let's not overdo it. How about a nice nap so you can really enjoy Las Pegasus.
A good idea. We could use some shut-eye.
Oh no.
But I'm not tired. Oh, right.
Oh boy.
You go along now, and if
Again,
you
I love
go
this
while
room.
we rest, sugar booger. Yawn.
If you say so. What? They'll be in here sleeping the whole time I'm gone. Quit judging me.
That's... Rainbow's been hanging around Fluttershy a little too long.
A ticket for the coolest roller coaster of all time, please. But this line never ends.
I know, right? Good thing we can just stand here all day without any responsibilities waiting for us.
Oh boy.
Hey, thanks! Enjoy the ride.
They didn't even know I left.
That's awesome. Like the pose. Yep, they duped you.
They're gone.
Where? They're 4 little old grannies. How far can that? Dance Dance Revolution!
Are you here?
That is awesome.
Applesauce?
Lyra and Bon Bon, what are you two doing here?
Goldie? Oh, I'm the worst chaperone ever.
Don't let them out of your sight.
I know.
That moment whenever those voices in your head begins to seem a little too real.
Lady, you just described half the ponies in this place.
Oh my.
Oh, this place is huge.
Again, Dance Dance Revolution. Again, I'm kind of wondering. This is Las Pegasus. I'm wondering if he designs. I'm wondering if there's a might be a reference here to one of the National Lampoon movies, the Vegas one. I forgot the title of it, but
No way! Goldie's totally got game.
Make some noise for the best played game of horseshoes this resort has ever seen. Can you believe your eyes, folks?
hey, that looked like
Yeah!
Rainbow's mom.
Oh, Goldie!
Stand back. She's getting excited.
Huh?
That looks like Rainbow's mother. Oh dear,
Mind if I try?
you botched it.
Whoops. Guess I'm no good at this game. Sorry.
And the gold horseshoe gals are out. Looks like the show's over, every pony.
Maybe your sister.
Oh, I'm so glad I found you. Every pony feeling okay? Not too excited?
Pretty much the opposite right now.
Good. From now on, I'm not
Those
letting
movie
this place
posters?
out of my sight.
In that case, let's paint the town candy apple red.
Oh, we
Uh-oh.
could play more games.
Or go shopping for hats. Have I ever told you about the time I got a new hat and it turned out to be a bird? That's what we ought to do.
Really?
Hit the buffet. Oh, that horseshoe tossing sure works up an appetite.
Uh-huh.
I love me some nachos. I'ma set my dentures loose on these vittles until the crumbs cry, Uncle.
They can only eat soft foods. You're a nacho away from no roller coaster.
Come on, Granny. You know you can't have those. They're super crunchy. How about some nice, soft carrot soup instead?
I thought you were supposed to be the fun one.
Wait, I am fun.
Attention all thrill seekers. There's only one day left to ride the ride of all rides, the Wild Blue Yonder, before it's gone for good. Get in line, now!
So, what does every pony want to do
Nachos.
tonight? I was thinking, go to our room and put on eye masks and earplugs.
I'd rather hit the club and show off my dance moves. I'm quite a legend when it comes to rumba.
Sounds kind of intense. Aren't you all exhausted from your big day?
Heck no! We save up our energy all year for Las Pegasus weekend. Isn't that right, girls?
Dancing it is then. I'll be there.
Palm 3! Woo! Yeah! Ooh, yeah, Electro.
Careful when dancing.
Stop doing that! That's probably enough dancing for now. Right, Apple Rose?
Oh, that was just my warm-up.
Look,
Oh,
it's
crap.
our favorite magicians, Big Bucks and Jackpot. And aren't they lucky?
I don't even want to know what artists will do with those names. Oh my god, are you serious?
You little fillies.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh. Oh my good heavens.
You gold horseshoe gals like to bring some of that good energy into our magic.
Oh my,
tonight.
I am not looking up fan art for this. No. No, heck no, not in a freaking million years.
Just over there.
Sugar
Byron
Hill,
Bonbon again.
We never miss your show.
Please stop.
We'll save a spot for you on stage.
And in our hearts.
So gross.
Funny Rainbow and I were both thinking the same thing.
Just landed us some very important pony tickets for the show tonight.
I'd like some of
Come on! You said you were going back to the room after dancing, so each pony could have some alone time.
Oh, now don't be a stick in the mud. Trust me, you'll love this show. It's the best thing in Las Pegasus.
Oh, hey! Thanks for giving me your place in line. They said I'm one of the last ponies ever to ride the Wild Blue Yonder.
Oh, that's cute. She looked like a plushie right there.
And now for the trick that made us famous.
The most dangerous magical.
You know you look like Trixie's dad. You do. I like the music.
We'd like to invite some very special males to the stage.
That's our cue, girls.
Hey, where are you going? Come back!
Meet
Rainbow
our
is really
lovely
adorable in this
assistants.
episode.
They will make a splash-tastic escape using only the instructions we give them.
What?
With our minds.
Again, this guy looks like
Don't try
Trixie's
this
dad.
out, folks.
Uh-oh.
Do I really have to say anything?
Not really. Wouldn't do that, wouldn't do that, wouldn't do that.
What you go and do that for? That was our big star moment. You were in danger. I saw the water. You were trapped.
Oh, pish tosh! This is a magic show. We've seen it 1,000 times. Every pony always escapes.
That's right, folks. Because of our skill as magicians.
And now, a disappearing act.
You can't tell me that. Oh, really?
Well,
Yep,
I
that's
hope
Trixie's dad.
not.
Gotta be.
We've been waiting to be picked as the loveliest assistants in that trick for years.
You keep ruining our fun. I had a hot hoof going in that game you decided to lose for us.
And I wanted to eat those nachos at the buffet.
And I could have torn up the dance floor if you didn't keep stopping me.
They're being too polite to say it, so I will. Rainbow Dash, we thought you'd be a hoot, but I ain't never met a wetter hen. What?
She's right. You've had your mane in a twist ever since we arrived.
Is something the matter, dear?
I'm so sorry, every pony. The truth is, all I wanted to do for this whole trip is ride the Wild Blue Yonder. I mean, it's why I came to Las Pegasus in the first place. Applejack told me not to let you out of my sight, or you might overdo it and we'd have to go home early.
Applejack put you up to this?
Oh,
I had no idea.
Well, now it's too late. I ruined your trip, and it's the last day ever to ride the Wild Blue Yonder. The line is so long, I'll never get to go on it. Hey, what's so funny?
Is that all you wanted?
Well, fish-flavored kitten kibble. Why didn't you say so sooner?
What?
Come on, girls!
What?
We are Gold Horseshoe members, the most exclusive club in Las Pegasus. And she's with us.
She gets to ride it!
We've been coming here every moon since we can remember. Even some we don't remember.
It definitely has its perks.
Like fancy sweets and roller coaster rides?
That's right. And I hope you
Byron
have any
Bonbon.
funds.
Yes. This is amazing. Isn't this amazing?
Sugar, you probably want to hold on back now.
I'm sorry I misjudged you for being older ponies. You mares are actually pretty cool.
Rainbow Dash,
Yeah, Granny?
the girls and I have been talking, and we think you're a hoot after all. We'd like to invite you to become a permanent member of the Gold Horseshoe Gals.
Really?
Same time next year?
I wouldn't miss it for anything.
This was fun. This is adorable. Alright. I love this. I really did. I love this episode. This was such a sweet, warm-hearted episode. I mean, it was adorable. It was fun. And it was honestly relatable. You know, I mean, it was honestly relatable. I mean, oh my god. I mean, this was something that I've never seen them do in the show before. But it just honestly fit. I mean, it fits so well. Pardon me. I mean, here, Rainbow, I mean, it was such an interesting contrast. Rainbow and the elder mares. I mean, essentially, this is exactly the situation of a younger individual, like, you know, like late teens, early 20s, you know, mid 20s or something, pretty much hanging out with someone, or like a group of people that are like in their 60s or 70s or 80s or something. And, you know, it's that thing where it's a kind of a stereotype, but generally, you know, you kind of believe that there's such a far departure, that there's such a time span there, that they're not really going to see eye to eye. That's not always the case, though. Like, it is not. Some people don't. I mean, it was an interesting thing, you know, where you expected the old ladies to be boring. You expected them to be boring and like be doing boring stuff, and here Rainbow wanted to do big adventurous stuff. And so, like, that's what you honestly thought. And Rainbow thought that everybody was going to be boring and it was just going to be completely devastating and she wouldn't have any fun. And like, to be completely honest, I really relate to Rainbow here. Like, I have been kind of in that situation before. Like, there was a time, actually not like maybe week before last, where some of the women at church, older women, like these women, like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, were going to go out to eat after church. And my mom asked me did I want to go, and I'm like, thinking about it, I'd be the only guy in this group of older women, and I'm like, no, nope, I'm good. Go on, have fun. I'm just gonna head home. I'm good. Because I didn't figure I would have any fun, and I figured, they'd be talking amongst themselves, and I didn't figure I would have a place in it. So I can relate to Rainbow here. But this was such an interesting contrast, and this is definitely something that we've never seen before. And there's a few different perspectives to look at it here. Rainbow did not think that she thought that hanging out with the old ladies would be boring, and she would not have any fun. It would be boring as heck, and that it would be a really lame trip. But she ended up learning that the old ladies can be fun. They can be fun, and this is one of the situations where the younger individual learns. Initially believes that the older people, the older generation, the elders, aren't any fun. That you hanging out with them, you're not going to have any fun whatsoever. They're just going to be boring. But Rainbow learned that they can be, and that they can be really fun, and that you can have a good time, and you can get along with them, talk. And Rainbow learned that. She began to see that, and she learned that overall. But it was interesting because Rainbow, she wanted to ride a ride that she might not have a chance, she might not ever get to go on again. And that would be her only chance. And to be completely honest, this makes me think about, I honestly see, I see a very common blend. I see myself sort of in Rainbow here. That's kind of how I feel with BronyCon this year. They might have one next year. Don't know. This might be the last. This might be my last chance. And so, yeah, it's kind of the same. I can relate. Willing to do whatever it takes to get to go, and even if it means some mental suffering, you'll do whatever you have to do it. And it's not just for BronyCon for me. Again, Rainbow is a character that I relate to each of the characters. But I really relate to Rainbow here. There has been situations for me where I had the chance to, be around some older individuals, and I just backed out. I don't always make that decision, because I do know that, this is something I kind of learned a long time ago, is that you can have fun. Even with people who are much older than you, you still can have fun with them. And one of the guys that I worked with, he actually trained me. He was in his 60s. Here I was, early 20s. And this guy, he was in his 60s. And he was like a grandfather to me. And we got along so well whenever we worked together. We got along so well. And then, so I understand, you can get along with older people, and then, just, the history that they can tell, the lives, the lifetimes that they lived through, the things that they've seen. But Rainbow wanted to go to Las Pegasus to ride this ride, but she had a task that she thought would make her miss out on it. So she asked Applejack to trade with her, and Applejack made her a deal. You go on Granny Watch, and you can go to Las Pegasus. And I'm not really sure why, the instructions that Applejack gave Rainbow, if she actually wanted Rainbow to stick with them to a T, or if she just wanted her to kind of be loose about it, make sure that the Grannies didn't really go all out, just kind of keep an eye on them, or if she kind of figured that Rainbow if she kind of didn't really trust her and thought she would be extremely strict, or she kind of thought Rainbow would follow it and then realize later on, you know what, they're okay. I really don't need to do this completely. So I'm not really sure, like, pardon me, it makes me wonder how Big Mac did it. And I'm sure Applejack has probably done it before when on Granny Watch with them. So I'm kind of wondering as to how that really worked, like what happened before. But again, Rainbow, she tried to sneak off, do what she could. She had a different idea. Every single one of these characters had different things that they wanted to do. In Las Pegasus, Rainbow, her main goal was to ride that ride. And again, I mean, I can relate to Rainbow here because there have been times. I remember back whenever I was growing up, going on shopping trips with my mom, my grandma, and a cousin, and like they would always, 3 older women, 1 boy, and their goal, what they wanted to do, they wanted to go to the clothes. I wanted to go to the toys. That was my goal. You all go on and do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. And that was kind of, so I can relate to Rainbow here. And even now, I can relate to Rainbow because there are times whenever, like you have a goal in mind for something that you want to do. Everybody basically does. And however, for Rainbow, the ideas that these little old grannies were having were clashing with what she wanted to do. And she felt she had to keep an eye on them because that's what Applejack told her. And she felt she had to keep an eye on them extremely strictly. And it was affecting her not being, it was really putting a damper on her not being able to ride that roller coaster. And so she tried to do everything she could to get a break. She tried swindling the little old ladies, trying to do everything she could to try to get just a chance to be able to ride the ride. But as it turned out, she didn't really want to be around the grannies at first, but that was the deal that she made. And all honesty, you can't fault. I can't fault Rainbow here because again, it's one of those situations where you will sometimes, again, if it's something that you want, there are times whenever you will put up with a lot just to get something that you want. But there's also times like with Rainbow here where even something that you're putting up with, you will learn. You will learn something. And the thing that you're dealing with, that you're putting up with, that you thought might not be that fun, turns out it was. So, but Rainbow, she was doing like everything that she could because she was afraid that the trip would be canceled and they would have to go home. So she was trying everything she could to ensure that it worked out. And everything just kept backfiring for her. And finally, she ended up jeopardizing the show, and that's whenever, it was an interesting contrast, because Rainbow, she is the more, she is the most adventurous out of all the main 6. She's the most adventurous. And here, Granny Smith and the rest of them, believe that Rainbow was fun, but Rainbow was showing a different side here. Like, she was being a party pooper. She was being a stick in the mud. And all the other elder mares saw that. Like, elder women here, they saw that. And so then Rainbow told them the truth. That she wanted to ride that ride. It might be her only chance. She wanted to ride it. And that that Applejack told her, to make sure that they didn't get too excited, that everything was okay, and basically ask her to chaperone. And so then it turns out the Golden Horseshoe Gals have top priority. They have top tier access to things in Las Pegasus like this ride, and so they were, I guess, elder discount, maybe senior citizens discount, and so they were actually able to ride it. And Rainbow learned. She realized that they could all have fun. She realized that these older women weren't a bore. She learned that these older women weren't a bore like she thought they'd be. She thought the trip was going to be boring and just complete crap. But turns out it wasn't. She actually had fun, and um, she actually enjoyed herself. And once she was able to be honest with them about why she wanted to be there and what she wanted to do, I think that really helped right there, because Rainbow had kind of she'd been keeping it a secret from them the whole time about why she was there, and it wasn't wearing on her psyche, but it was it was really playing a part in jeopardizing that. Um, but after Rainbow came clean about it, and like she was able to just have fun and let the other grannies have fun as well, they were able to just all have fun together, and that's whenever the trip really became magical for everyone. And Rainbow realized, she was having fun. She had fun as well, and that's whenever they decided to make her an honorary member of the Golden Horseshoe Gals, and she became an honorary member, and so she realized again she had fun, and she had fun with the trip, and she got to ride the ride. They all did, and so she actually got to enjoy herself, and she got to learn something that she didn't know before. Like, I would assume, Rainbow is just she's kind of in a way used to living life in the fast lane. I mean, with her lifestyle, how she does things, she's kind of used to living things in the fast lane. And so here she had to take a step. She had to slow down. I mean, she's used to doing things fast. She's used to doing things quickly. And again, I can fully relate to Rainbow because in a sense that's kind of how I am. Like whenever, like if you saw me walking, I walk briskly. I mean, that's just how I've always done. I don't walk slowly. I walk briskly. And I know I make a lot of people mad at me, but like typically if I'm in a store or something and there are people just walking slowly, I will walk around them. Like I will. I won't deny it. I will openly admit it. I'm one of those people that, if you're kind of walking slowly, more slow than I prefer, I just walk around you, because again, it's just how that I am. Like, I'm like Rainbow here. I walk fast, and so, it's kind of like I walk fast because it gets me to where I'm going quicker. And so like Rainbow here, I can relate to that, but Rainbow, she's used to living life in the fast lane. She's used to doing things quickly, and so here she had to slow down. And it kind of makes me think about Disney's Cars, like Lightning McQueen, living life in the fast lane, had to slow down, be forced into a situation where he had to stop and slow down and look around him. And that's kind of what Rainbow did here. She had to slow down. And she saw that the ponies that she thought were going to be boring and slow, she actually learned that by slowing down, and that she could have fun as well. And she had fun with these older mares. She had fun, and she was able to enjoy herself. And so Rainbow learned that, she doesn't always have to do things and like live life in the fast lane. Sometimes she can still have fun by slowing down. And because she's actually looking forward to the trip next year. I know we'll never see it, but I'm sure hopefully fan fiction will take care of that. Maybe even fan art as well. But again, it was interesting because here you have a character who lives life in the fast lane, and she was forced to slow down. She was forced to take a step back and like kind of grind to a halt, hit my bottle of water, and experience something that she's never dealt with before, which is hanging out with these older women, hanging out with these elders. And she had to deal with that. And at first she thought it was boring. She thought it was hectic. And then she was able to actually appreciate it, and she was able to have fun, and she realized they weren't so bad, and she was able to have fun with it. And so again, this was honestly a fun episode. I loved it. It was cute. It was fun. And again, Rainbow was really adorable in this episode, and again, I can really relate to her. I can honestly relate to her here. And like I said, it's one of those things where, I'm like, even now, if my mother asks me, do I want to go out to eat with with her and some of the other older women from church again, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Go ahead. Because in my mind, even now, I may or may not have any fun. But in my mind, that's their thing, and I don't want to feel like I'm butting in. I don't want to feel like I'm, stepping in on that. So I'm just like, go ahead, have fun. That's your thing. Go ahead. But at the same time, I do know that hanging out with older individuals is not a bad thing. Some can be boring, yes, but not all. There are some that you can really get along with, and you can have a long conversation with, and you can still have a lot of fun. And like I said, that older gentleman that I used to work with before he retired, he and I got along so well, and I loved working with him. I always look forward to working with him because we could talk about a lot of different things, and he was always smiling, and I loved working with him. He was just always so awesome to work with. And so I know that, and so I do know that you can get along with older people. Not always, but then again, that applies to other people. I mean, there are younger people that you can't get along with, older people you can't get along with, but then there are younger people you can get along with, and older people that you can get along with. But again, it's one of those things where Rainbow, again, there was something that she wanted, and so she was willing to do whatever it took to try to get it. How many of us have been in that situation? Have something that you want, you're willing to do whatever you can to get it. And I can relate to Rainbow on this. And she didn't think hanging out with these elder women would be entertaining. She thought it would be boring, and so she was dreading it. Again, you've been in it. I mean, how many of us have been in that situation before? You dread maybe a trip or something. Maybe it's with people from church. Maybe it's with a group, or maybe it could be with family, because you're thinking, I'm going to be bored out of my freaking skull. This is going to be so boring. But your initial perception of it is completely wrong. Rainbow here had one initial image in her mind of how the trip was going to go. But as it turned out, she actually began to see that they were fun, and she realized that, and she found out they were fun, and she was able to have fun as well. And we've been in that situation before. You initially think something's going to be boring or just completely dull. You're not going to enjoy it, but it turns out you did have fun. That's kind of actually a very similar situation. Is like how whenever the head deacon at church asked me about running the monitors, I didn't really think I would enjoy it, but I have a lot of fun with it. Like, whenever I started doing it, I realized I had a lot of fun with it, and I love doing it. I really enjoy it. And so again, I can really fully 100% relate to Rainbow here on so many different levels. I can 100% relate to her here. And so, and a lot of us can. And I know, some people would say that Rainbow was selfish because she agreed to that just because she wanted to ride that ride. Again, though, if you're going to say Rainbow's selfish, then I'm selfish, because I have done things like that before. A lot of us have done things like that before. And I'm not ashamed. I probably should be, but I'm not. I will openly admit it. I am just as guilty and selfish as Rainbow is, because I have done that before myself. And I'm sure there will be times in the future that I will do that, because it's just something that I guess it's coded into us. If it's something that we really want, essentially this. Here's a river. Here's like a pond. There are sharks in that pond. Or here's a pit. You can't go around it, and something that you desire is on the other side. Well, you will learn to either tame those sharks, or you will learn to jump across those crocodiles just to get what you want. Now, some people would back down and say, you know what, it's not worth it. And that's cool, that's fine. But some others, like myself, we're too stubborn. We're too stubborn. We're like, no, I'm going for that. You know, and we won't back down. We'll do it anyway, even if it risks us getting hurt. We'll do it. And so, again, I'm just as selfish as Rainbow. There are other people who are just as selfish as Rainbow. But the thing is, you know, Rainbow, if you're going to say Rainbow is selfish, then yeah, she went there for a selfish reason. But she ended up having fun and ended up enjoying herself, and it worked out for everyone. It worked out for everyone in the end. Rainbow got to ride the ride, and she got to have fun. She got to learn something about the elder ladies here. She got to learn something about them and about herself. She learned that they can be fun and that she can have fun with them as well. And so, again, this was a very cute, very relatable, and very sweet episode. And it was also heartwarming as well to see that. Because, again, this is something like, you know, this show itself, Friendship is Magic, it's just one of many other shows that can focus on, I mean, essentially different programs, both animated CGI, animated CGI, Flash, live action. They kind of have a bit of a different demographic that they're kind of aimed at. That doesn't mean that they're limited directly to that demographic. It just means that it's kind of the target. For example, Friendship is Magic was initially targeted for younger kids, but because of the stories, because of the characters, because of the music, the show itself expanded, and people of both genders and of different ages love the show. And right now, but there are other shows, of course, that have done this. My mom watches Golden Girls a lot. I don't watch it. I just feel it's not my thing, because you guys, I mean, I don't hate the show. I'm not against it. It's just, I kind of feel it's just not my thing. But essentially, you have older people who don't want to watch younger people programs. Then you have younger people who don't want to watch older people programs. That's essentially the gimmick here. And so here you have an interesting contrast where you have Rainbow, a younger individual, having to hang around these older individuals. And so she's forced into that situation, and she has to adapt. Like, initially she goes into it begrudgingly. She doesn't think she's going to have any fun. And because she doesn't open her mind to their personalities, to their idea of fun, because she doesn't open her mind to it, she's limiting herself. And she doesn't have any fun because she limits herself, because she keeps a closed mind. But whenever she tells the truth, whenever she finally opens her mind, she realizes she can have fun. And she did have fun. She realizes these old ladies can be fun, and she can have fun with them. And she actually begins to really enjoy it, to the point that she's looking forward to going with them on another Las Pegasus trip the next year. So again, it's really relatable. I really relate to this. And it's also interesting because again, most of the show focuses on the younger characters here. The main 6, the additional characters, and things like that. So we don't often. This is the first time that we've actually got a show that really kind of focused. I remember another episode where Apple Bloom was embarrassed to be around Granny Smith. But again, this is a very interesting contrast, and it's a gimmick that I've seen a few times before in television, but it's interesting to see it play out here in MLP. It's a very interesting dynamic. I mean, two different worlds here. I mean, you have Rainbow, a younger, like early 20s female. She lives life in the fast lane. That's what she's used to. That's her lifestyle. Then you have these elders here who have been around far longer than Rainbow has, and have seen a lot, have done a lot, and they're older. They can't move around as quick. They still have pep, but they have their own idea of fun. And Rainbow doesn't think that they are fun. She thinks they're boring. And so she had one perspective. She had one perception of them. And so Rainbow learns to open her mind, to be more willing, to more open-minded to what their idea of fun is. And boom, look what happened. And again, it's a very interesting thing because we don't often see that. We don't often see that gimmick in MLP. We haven't seen that gimmick really, but this is the first time we've seen that gimmick, and it worked beautifully in the show. I mean, it really worked beautifully for this. It honestly worked. And again, it was very cute. It was sweet. Had a really good happy ending, and a very truthful ending. And so again, I really love this episode. I honestly really love this episode. And again, this was one of the more kind of slower paced episodes in terms of the story, but it had a really good setup. It had a really good build, and I think it really flowed great. And I think the resolve was also really great. But again, this is honestly one of my favorite episodes so far of season 8. Right here, this really is. And so again, I really love this episode. It's fun, it's cute, it's sweet, and it's heartwarming, it's charming, and it's relatable. I can really relate to it. And so again, I really love this episode. So going over some different aspects of the episode here, it's interesting that we actually get, oh freaking heck, I thought I hit pause. I seriously thought I hit pause there. Turns out I didn't. I don't understand what happened there. I really don't. I thought I hit pause, but I didn't. Now, this is the first time we actually see some of the additional characters in the background here. I mean, we've seen Soren a time or two without his Wonderbolt's outfit, but it's very interesting that we actually get to see Fleetfoot and the other character whose name escapes me. Misty Fly, that's her name. Okay, but yeah, we have Misty, we have Fleetfoot, I believe, and Soren, and they're not wearing their uniforms. We finally fully get to see them fully without their uniforms, and they look great. It's awesome to be able to see them outside their uniforms. It's really awesome. And again, I love their designs. And it's interesting here because here Rainbow is with them, and you know she's part of the Bolts, and they're all just kind of hanging out. You know, they're all just kind of hanging out here, sharing those stories with each other. And so again, it's really cool, and also love that they're continuing with the Wonderbolt deal. Here Rainbow is, she's a Wonderbolt. She's in the she's in the barracks, and so I really think that that's awesome that they're continuing with that and showing that continuity there. That's awesome. And then I think it's really cool here whenever Rainbow first tried to pretend that she didn't know what that ride was, but then she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Honestly, I think that's really interesting for Rainbow, because I think, you know, like maybe back in season 1 or season 2 with Rainbow's personality, she would have continued to play like she knew what they were talking about and just say something like, but let's just say that I don't. Could you tell me about it? But here, she just, I think, I kind of credit that to the development that we've seen with her character over the past several years, especially the last few. Like, she just flat out admitted she had no idea what they were talking about, and she had no shame with admitting that she did not know. And so, I think that was really cool. And then this moment, again, I've always shipped Rainbow and Soren, and so this worked for my ship. This gave my ship fuel. And again, Rainbow just hanging out kind of with Soren here. And the cute thing about it is even whenever Rainbow, the cute thing here is Soren is still hanging, like his hoof is still around Rainbow. His hoof is still around her back. It's adorable. And interesting thing, we get to see the Wonderbolts in the pictures in their Wonderbolts outfits, which is interesting that they're not actually wearing something different. And Fleetfoot, Misty, no, Fleetfoot, yeah, Fleetfoot, and are playing chess while riding it? Okay. I dare someone. Like, has anybody ever done that? Honestly, on a roller coaster, it's not possible. I really don't think it's possible. And again, yeah, shipping fuel, cute shipping fuel. And look how close their noses are. Look how close their noses are. That is boop level closeness. That is boop level closeness. closeness there. That is awesome. That is wicked. And we also get to see Rainbow. I mean, here she is in the school, going over what she knows about the class. And then she's telling Pinky about it, and Pinky ends up becoming dizzy and face plants into the cake. And a nice continuation from the last episode as well. A nice continuation from the last episode with Fake It or Make It. There's an animation error there. You can see it, the animation error. With Fluttershy and Rarity kind of hanging out here. A nice continuation from the last episode. And then finally, the last person that Rainbow is telling, which is Applejack. And, you know, the last person that she would tell, which is Applejack. Again, a couple other things to point out here is we get to see this. It's been a long time, honestly, but we finally get to see this other little hot air balloon pony come back. And honestly, how she climbed into this basket was just adorable. I mean, it's so simple, but it's adorable. And again, follow up with the wing hands, with the use of the wings like hands. We've seen it before, but it was interesting to be able to further see it used here. And again, I'm kind of still curious about the specific instructions that Applejack gave to Rainbow. And again, I'm kind of curious about these specific instructions. Like, are these instructions that even Big Mac has to try to follow? And exactly how much to a degree does he have to follow them? Is Applejack being 100% serious? Like the Grannies can't eat anything crunchy. They just have to have something soft. Or what? I mean, does she really expect Big Mac or Rainbow to follow that to a T? Or is there some sort of leniency there? I don't know. And again, further development with the wing hands is Rainbow, again, using her wings like hands. Again, it's interesting to be able to see that being used here. And honestly, Rainbow here, waiting for the balloon to rise up and screaming. Again, honestly, I think back to a couple of weeks ago, to like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Me and like 12 other people from church ended up going to watch the movie Paul, the Apostle of Christ. And I remember there was only 3 guys. There were 13 people, and there was out of those 3 people, 3 of them were guys. Okay, the rest were women. There was myself, the preacher, and another deacon who was the bus driver. So it was just the 3 of us. And I remember, like, we ended up, after leaving church, we ended up, I ate breakfast that morning because I didn't know we were going to be stopping anywhere for breakfast. And before we even left church, one of the women, the older women, made a mention about, so, where are we going to eat breakfast at? The preacher just started to laugh, and I'm like, and I think he and I both thought the same thing, like, oh boy. And so we ended up stopping at McDonald's, and the preacher and I stayed on the bus while all the women just went on in, got their breakfast, and we just sat on the bus. And so, again, this brings back memories to that. You know, this honestly brings back memories to that. Like, and then after the movie, they went to Cracker Barrel, and the preacher and I came out. Most of them were still inside shopping, and the preacher and I were just kind of hanging out outside, waiting for everybody to come on out. And then we stood outside while everybody got on the bus, you know. So again, I can relate to Rainbow here. Like, it's kind of like I look at this hot air balloon like the church bus. You know, you're waiting for it to actually take off. They're like, oh, come on. Except actually the bus driver that we had, like, he had a left foot, so we actually didn't have to worry about that. But again, we actually get to come back to Las Pegasus, and we get to see Las Pegasus again. And I can't help but notice the statue back here with the pink mustache and I think a Markiplier. And again, it's a bit of an interesting reference, but again, we got Flim and Flam on these doors. Self-absorbed much? And look, I mean, Rainbow honestly had some really adorable faces in this episode too. She really did. Oh, and I just now noticed the statue. Again, arrogant and self-absorbed much. And again, some different designs for these characters here. Like this pony over here on the right with the golden hair, the light cream colored girl over here with the brownish hair. Cute, really cute design for her. Still wondering about other characters here because I know some other things to pick up on. Oh, and we see this other character here, and Raindrop's hanging out, and she has a very cool hairstyle. Never seen anything like that I recall before, but that's cool. And this moment where this old lady is flirting with this young guy, oh my good heavens. Oh my, you know what? Like, honestly, we've seen it. I've seen it in other shows before. It kind of surprises me that they did it in MLP. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm glad they did because boy, is it freaking hilarious. And quite realistic too. Like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised they went there with this. Like, even the title of this episode is quite shocking but hilarious. But oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Like, this was awesome. It was awkward, but it was awesome. And like, again, I'm surprised that they put it in MLP of all things, but it worked. I'm really glad that they did it. I honestly am. And then this little lady calling this guy Sweet Morsel. Oh my! This guy will probably, after leaving the room, this guy probably went and poured bleach in his ears, and probably poured it in his eyeballs as well. Probably poured it into his eye sockets as well. And another interesting little thing to note is Rainbow talking to this cat. And Rainbow knows exactly what the cat's saying. I can only surmise that this is a result of Rainbow hanging around Fluttershy for so long. That's the only thing I can come up with. And we also have a Rick and Morty reference. Now, I don't watch Rick and Morty, but I have heard of it. And so we have Rick and Morty right here, standing in line, Las Pegasus, which is awesome. I think it's interesting that MLP makes a reference to a more adult-oriented show like Rick and Morty. Again, this is one of those things where little kids aren't going to get the reference, but adults do. I think, like, I had someone make a mention to me, like, I had someone actually get upset at me, and make a mention in the comment about, it was after the mod couple episode. Someone got upset at me over what I said about Mod looking at Mudbriar with a bit of a seductive look, and they're like, this is a show for kids. Yeah, you let little kids watch Rick and Morty. Yeah, little kids are going to get this. Again, this is MLP is one of those shows where they do have adult humor put in that flies over the heads of little kids, but adults get it. I love this pose, this calm pose for Rainbow here. I love this. I can only imagine, like, somebody doing a fanfic. I mean, I could do it, but, like, just imagining maybe Rainbow and Soren when, like, okay, actually, I can't imagine a fanfic like that. Maybe Spitfire decides to hook Rainbow and Soren up. I could do a fanfic of that. Rainbow, like, Spitfire decides to hook Rainbow and Soren up, so she fakes a trip to Las Pegasus, saying that the whole team is going. And then at the last minute, whenever they're getting ready to leave, it seemed like for whatever reason, every pony else just cancels. Spitfire, Fleetfoot, Misty Fly. They're like, nope, we're not going, so that just leaves Rainbow and Soren. And so Rainbow and Soren go, like, this is Soren's room. Rainbow sneaks in, maybe see if he's awake or something. You know, I can just imagine that. But again, I have a wicked sense of humor. Again, Dance Dance Revolution! And we see an adorable pony dancing on that. And I'm wondering about some of these other background characters here. If there's any references to anything that I'm not really going to notice. Hang on, excuse me. That's a quick thing. It's hard, it's hard to pick up this one shot. It's hard to pick, but this is the best that I could do. This one with Lyra and Bonbon. Cute. And look at these pictures here. So Lyra and Bonbon's hanging out. And again, another cute thing just now noticed is in the background here, this guy talking to this girl in this little machine here. That's cute. That's adorable. See some other characters here which are adorable, like these two mares right here in the front. I love their designs. They're cute. And I love the blue eyes on this one right here. Like that is beautiful for her. And here, that's whenever Rainbow is like, dang. And here, Rainbow sees, like, she realizes here that the older ponies, she's like, dang, they're good. They got game. And again, the buffet table. You know, honestly, like, you can't really look at this and it not kind of make you hungry. Because look at all these good foods. And again, I love the simplicity of this episode. That, you know, they didn't go with these big explosive moments with the show. Like these very simple moments where the characters are sitting here at this table conversing. I mean, it's simple and it's calming and it's realistic, and I love how that they did that. I really love how they did that, and that they did it. I mean, it really does just fit. Shocker for me. Pawn 3, yeah. Pawn 3, yeah, rocking it out. Yeah. Yeah, you can't have a party without Pawn 3 in the house. You just can't. I'm telling you now, you can't. Yeah, you gotta have a party, you gotta invite Pawn 3. And honestly, I love this dance floor segment. I honestly love this dance floor segment. I love the music that they were playing here. Like that is one of my honestly that is one of my favorite kinds of music is electronic, like house mixes like this, like electronic music. I love it, and I love the music that they were playing right here in the background. I could so, like, if I was honestly there, I could so see myself getting down to that. I love that kind of music. Like, I love it, and so this is right up my alley right here. This is my kind of thing. This is my jam right here. Quoting Pinky, this is my jam. And I love the lighting effects as well. I love the lighting effects, the soft shadows and the shading effects that they did as the lights moved about the characters, how it dimmed and like how the moments. Yeah, I love how the lighting, how the lighting effects change over the characters with the lights. Very, very nice touch. And again, the lighting effects here for this really sell this shot. And the interesting thing here again is, in this moment, honestly, again, this moment, whenever, okay, these two guys, this might be a reference to something, but so help me, this guy over here on the right, I just can't think of anything else but that this guy's not Trixie's dad. He's got a similar hair color to her. He's a unicorn. And he's into magic. This guy just seems like he'd be Trixie's father. He just does. And that moment, whenever Granny lets her hair down. Lord give me strength. Oh my freaking gosh. You know what? Again, this is MLP. I'm shocked nothing went there, but I'm I'm glad that they did because, again, it's relatable and it's realistic. But, man, I'm not looking at fan art. I am not. No, 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 I'm not looking at fan art. No. Mm-mm. No. Not in this lifetime, not the next, not the one after that. No, screw it. No. I'm not. Mm-mm. No. No fan art for me. I'm good. I'm good. And honestly, I relate. Like, I relate. I relate to Rainbow here. I think it's funny that at pretty much at the same moment that she was like gross, that I gagged. Because honestly, I really relate to Rainbow. Some people might think it's cute or kind of romantic for, to see older people flirting. And that's cool. Like, if that's your thing, that's cool. But for me, I'm just not into it. So yeah, I really relate to Rainbow here. Like seeing, even in cartoons, seeing these older individuals flirting with each other, awkward and just kind of gross to me. Like, I don't mean that in a bad way. If you're gonna judge me, that's sorry. That's just how I feel. I'm just not into the older individual. I'm just not into the elderly romance thing. I'm just not. Okay. But again, I really relate to Rainbow here, and I can only imagine Applejack, finding out about her grandmother hitting on some guy. I can only imagine what Applejack would say, what she would do. I can only imagine that. Oh boy. It's interesting again. They're following up. Lyra and Bon Bon hanging out in the audience together. That's cool. And again, this guy. If this guy's not Trixie's dad, I don't know. I don't freaking know. If this guy's not Trixie's dad, then I don't freaking know, man. He's got a similar hair color. He's got a similar body color. He's into magic. Bad magic. He's got to be her dad. And it's kind of cute here. Like, whenever Rainbow has to try to get by this big, heftier, bulkier guy, and he's got a football, so, yeah, like, this guy, he's kind of like the big, buff football player. Probably take steroids. And Rainbow has to poke the guy, and she has to point past him. Like, here, Rainbow, she's the smaller stature, and here's this big, humongous, like, I don't know, like, human-wise, what? 5 foot, like, I'm going to say somewhere between 5'4", 5'8", female, Rainbow, maybe, 5'9". And here's like a 6.5, 7 foot tall dude. And Rainbow's like, could you kind of move? I gotta get past. And then the guy moves over, and Rainbow has, like, so she can actually get by him. And this trick with, and honestly, this moment whenever the image with Applejack keeps appearing, it's, that's relatable, again, because, sometimes you have those voices in your head reminding you about something, and you're like, okay, shut up, I get it, shut up. But this moment here, whenever Applejack's like, do I even need to say it? It's comedy gold, man. I love it. I freaking love it. That is awesome. But this trick with the tank and the water, that was a trick that Houdini did, I think it was. Wasn't it? Trying to escape from a tank of water while being chained. Like Rainbow, the Granny said right here, and honestly, I can't blame Rainbow here because, little old ladies in a tank of water, that is pretty dangerous. So, I can't fault Rainbow at this, for here because, Rainbow's responsible for the grandmother of one of her best friends. Yeah! You can't fault Rainbow here. And they said, everyone lives. And at that point, you can see the panic on this dude's face, like whenever they find out that they'll live. This dude's like, well then, like, I need a Kit Kat. Kit Kat time. And then again, I still say that this guy's like Trixie because they're bad at magic and they're like disappearing act. Their disappearing act is throwing a smoke bomb down and then running across the freaking stage because like no one can't see you. And I just now noticed the art in the background. I just now noticed the art in the background here. Like, look at these posters. Look at those posters. Now, I can't read what these say, but look at... I love this one right here on the left. That's beautiful. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of thinking this guy... I don't know why, but I think if Derpy had a brother, this guy might be him. He's a Pegasus. He's kind of similar color. He's got blonde hair. And just... I don't know. This just kind of looks like, I don't know, brother. I'm not saying it directly is, but... I mean, he's still standing over here. The same expression. The same dopey expression. But yeah, I gotta say, I really love this episode. It was a fun episode. It was a cute episode. It was a heartwarming episode. And it was very much a relatable episode. Because, again, I can relate to Rainbow in so many different factors in this. I honestly 100% can. So, again, very interesting to see that. And, again, the dynamics between Rainbow and Granny Smith and the rest of the older ponies. Again, very interesting play on that. Very interesting highlights. Showing two different generations. I mean, you know, here you have Rainbow, young, lives off in the fast lane. Granny Smith, older, wiser, kookier, and still full of zest, still full of life, and just that interesting contrast between them, that interesting balance. So again, very, very interesting to see that. Never seen it before, but I really think it worked, and I honestly love this episode. I really did. I love this episode, and so this, like I said, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes of season 8 so far. I can't say that is my most favorite episode of season 8. I can't say that it is my most favorite episode of season 8. There's still quite a few episodes to go, so I'm still waiting for something that will be my most favorite episode of season 8. This isn't my most favorite episode of season 8. I figure there's going to be another episode that will be, but this is definitely one of my favorite episodes of season 8. But again, I really loved it. It was cute, fun. It was just a really good episode for me. So again, to everybody at Hasbro, everybody that worked on this episode, thank you all so much. Love the episode. It was great. The writing was awesome. And again, it was fun, and I love the writing for this episode. The jokes, the gags, everything put in there. Art design for the characters was also awesome. I love that. So again, thank you to everybody that worked on it for all the hard work and effort. Thank you all so much for all the work and effort that you put into it. It was great. Thank you all so much. Also, thank you guys again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed. And hopefully I will talk to you. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.